right, we are going to talk about Jetty Bones and her album Push Back. This is the stage name of the Ohio based singer songwriter. I want to say her name is Kelc Galuzzo. And she began writing and recording music in the early 2010s. And after doing different music products for a few years, Kelk decided to begin her solo career with the help of friends, and she was able to perform those songs live. And she came up with the name Jetty Bones based off a very influential person she met in her life named Betty Jones. And by 2016, she released her first EP, Crucial States, followed by the EP, Old Woman, in 2017, and Hyphen in 2019. I never heard any of her records or any Jetty Bones songs prior to this, and with the lack of a detailed Wikipedia page, I was only able to discover she has done some touring in the US, gained a bit of a following in the indie music scene, and is currently signed to Rise Records. So I'm like, oh, I assume this is going to be some pop punk metalcore, like kind of a cross between like Knuckle Puck and Crown the Empire. Oh, was I quite off on my theory?
I will agree with you. Kind of looking into the information for this was a nightmare. Um, the only note I have for the background information is indie songwriter, comma, third album, question mark, because I was just trying to figure out her discography because it's like she did a sort of album, but she didn't because there's only 5 songs.
Yeah, we gotta teach you the lingo of EPs versus albums. You'll get there.
Yeah, I'm still
Um,
learning.
but actually, this is not punk metalcore at all. It starts off with the song "Waking Up Crying," which has a very dream pop sound with the vibrant, soothing guitars and percussion. Kelk's vocals matches the sweetness of the track as she sings about changing the negative views someone has towards her. And I dig those like loose bass lines that come in during like the "I'm not a terrible person" part, and the chimes I thought they put in was a nice touch too. The following track, Nothing, switches to an upbeat 80s esque synth pop tune. It's kind of in the veins of Debbie Gibson. I was like, if you played this song during like the opening credits of 16 Candles, it would fit.
I
And
could see it. I could see
yeah,
it.
it's more of a bubblegum pop breakup song, but the catchy production right down to the obligatory 80s sax solo in the middle fills you with more joy than sadness. And actually, I was like, this kind of reminds me of what Haley Williams' solo album sound like. I'm talking about her first album, not the
Okay,
horrible
I
second
was
album.
about to say.
Yeah. So, what you think of how it was going?
Waking Up Crying, I kind of got like a Midwest country kind of feel to it for some reason. It was all right. It an odd way to start off the album for me, just because I was expecting. I don't know. I actually don't know what I was expecting because I couldn't find any information. Um, I did like Nothing with that like funky '80s pop beat. You said it was like a bubble gum.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was grabbing my hairbrush and like singing in full length mirror, like, yeah, all right. Get my
Uh,
hair in pigtails.
the sax solo made it so much better.
Uh huh.
Um, I picked up that it was talking about the indecisiveness about staying or going in a relationship.
Right.
And then I got that one song stuck in my head: should I stay or should I go? And it's like, oh, come on.
But what's interesting about those two songs, I'm like, by the time I got to the middle of the album, I'm like, okay, every song's gonna be like somewhat of a different sound.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you can classify it all as alternative pop. And then the song "Taking Up Space" has that exactly what you're talking about, that midwestern small town style with like this slow guitar plucking that kind of blossomed into like a sunny pop rock track when she's like, what if I'm just taking up space? That shit over and over again. And she uses like great imagery of comparing herself to like a freight train being viewed by pedestrians when she's like, I never know if I'm in the way or if they're all marveling. Then something happens by the time we get to the song Ravine, where it just gets hauntingly slow, and like the piano ballad of the song kind of remind me a bit of something you hear from Adele. And then the song shows like a depression she feels once she starts to sober up. Remember that song where she's like
Yes.
talking about like first the alcohol is blessing her because it makes her fun and impulsive and improves her songwriting. But then later she says, I can feel the alcohol wearing thin. I don't know, the light went. I must have snuffed it out when I surrendered it. I'm like, oh, she's like kind of like
Yeah, like
descending into like the clutches of the binge.
yeah. Like a lot of my notes for this album are pertain to like just the subject matter, but there's a point where like they start blurring together just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Ravine, I thought, was carrying the burden of changing for someone else and becoming depressed because of it, or becoming depressed with who you've become, succumbing to the darkness. Especially since, like, I felt after that one chorus, like she's actually standing at the top of a ravine, like she's contemplating something. I didn't think it was metaphorical. I thought it was almost literal.
Right. I see that too. And I feel like there's like an emotional journey she's taking us on in this project. And even though at the beginning she seems heartbroken, it felt like the lighter music makes it seem like she's coping with it. But
Mm.
then in the middle, it appears like the mental instability is causing her to break. And then by the track 7, which is called Waking Up Exhausted, we ended her show. And the track Bad Time is pretty interesting, even though it's rather short. And I want to discuss this song with you because I can't figure this out.
Okay.
This is like another mid-tempo indie pop tune, but it has like beautiful descending chimes in the bouncy chorus,
Mm-hmm.
and it also features guest vocals from Eric Egan of the band Heart Attack Man. And I can't figure out, is Eric playing like the friend that's like when she starts singing her part first, he comes in and is like, "Oh, sorry for my friend, she's up and weird," or is Eric playing the role of Linda, the demon in her head? Because they both are singing at the same time the self-loathing lyrics, like "I don't deserve the high appraisals for pretending I'm stable," and the line where they say, "I'm just scared and lonely, so thanks for coming to my show. I'm a fucking phony." So I'm like, who is Eric in this song?
I saw it as like she is being the girlfriend who's like trying to make everyone else happy at the expense of her own happiness, and that's just devolving into a mental illness. But Eric is playing the friend, saying she's really a great person, she's amazing. There's a euphemism in there that I saw that deals with mental illness in a person, but the world is choosing to ignore it for the positivity that can come out of that person
Mm-hmm.
and how they can be a role model. And of course, then she ends it with how she's a phony.
Right, but they're both singing, so it's like, is he just helping the song sound better, or is he her? That's why I couldn't figure out. Maybe it's the first part because it sounds good with him singing with her.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for explaining that to me.
Yeah.
Although I did all explain to myself, but I don't think she should be so hard on herself because she's got talent and the girl has some pretty decent lyrical flow, dude. Like
Mm-hmm.
the first song, she's got rapid fire bars. The opening track I was singing, and also the song "That's All." She's like spitting some like fast paced lyrics. I'm like, damn, this girl
Yeah.
can rhyme.
Like I was almost expecting it to switch over to like a little bit of rap there
Yeah,
once
just
in a while. Like
drop some beat and like, oh,
yeah, like
you know, it's just like all of a sudden we get like, you know, like some bass drop and like the DJ's like scratching and shit. I wouldn't have been surprised. So let's talk about the song Dolly. Like I'm saying, this album is going from different sounds and stuff like that throughout. And Dolly was like a perfect like ode to Dolly Parton because she sounds just like her on the song. Like her cadence is exactly the same, her voice is the same. Got that Western twang. It's like a straight up hold down on that song.
yeah.
Like
I definitely got that like country fair kind of vibe from it.
it was like blatant. It was like
Yeah.
even getting. It was like there. Like I'm like, dude, if Hee Haw was still on the air, she could have killed it playing this song as a musical guest.
Jesus, that's a throwback and a half.
I really like this song a lot, and I'm not a big country fan. And it fits the subject matter of this album because, like I said, the second half of the album seems like it is turning toward a different direction. And that song deals with like the subject matter that you would hear in a Dolly Parton song. Anything else you want to talk about? Any songs we missed?
Um, Bug Life. I want
Bug
to talk
Life.
about
Okay.
Bug Life.
The final song. What'd you think?
So I was not prepared for it. I will admit it. This one almost made me cry, just because like the way it was designed with the added phone calls of someone's funeral and just like all the emotions that go into that surrounding that point in time. It's just it really got me. Like it, I had like a mix of emotions and I didn't know where to put them.
Okay. You needed a tissue for that song, you're saying, huh?
It almost got me. It almost got me.
I wish I was there listening to it with you. We could have embraced, you know, hugged
Man
it out
hug.
like two heterosexual men do. But yes, I agree. That song was beautiful too. And this album is not only therapeutic for her, but also for the listener. She showcases her issues with relationships, booze, her own self worth, which is a struggle many people go through. But she displays it in such an adorable way. And the music on here is so cute and precious. It really keeps the subject matter from being too heavy handed, and it's so lighthearted throughout. It doesn't overshadow the message that she's trying to say. I also read in the liner notes that she plays all the instruments for most of the parts, which I thought was pretty impressive as well. And this is the type of substantial pop rock that I can get behind. So I'm gonna say to you guys out there, if you want to claim you were listening to Jetty Bones before it became mainstream, I suggest you pick up this album. So I'm gonna give this album a really decent buy. This it's a really good first full length record, and I really like that she's wearing her heart on her sleeve in a lot of the songs. And like I said, she has something that the listener can pull away from and relate to. What do you think?
So a great deal of this album definitely deals with like relationships, internal negatives, and uncertainty. It's a very emotionally charged kind of album, and it, like you said, she does like wear her heart on her shoulder a little bit there. And I found myself really like kind of getting into it and like relating to some of the lyrics. It definitely deals with uncertainty. I really got a lot out of it. I'm actually giving it a praise this.
What?
Yeah, I know. Like I was not expecting to be like this hooked into it.
Game changer, folks. Man, this is the
Yeah.
first album that you will be buried with.
One of 12.
This is perfect. Kyler says, "All right, good job, Jetty Bones, or whatever you want to call yourself. I look forward to seeing you at the shows when she starts touring again.
I'll be in like
the
front row with like the off-brand T-shirt where like her face just stretched out so badly.
Tears streaming down your face.
Yes, she's beautiful.
She knows what I'm going through too."
Like and subscribe, folks.